They were too far ahead at that stage of the game, and they had. I mean, you know, anything is possible in the LPL. However, you saw that Dandy already in Game 1 was able to really power farm and out-pressure MLXG early with that particular pickup. So glad to see he goes back to something that jungle's a little bit quicker than the Graves right now.
Sivir and Braum are going to be the next 2 picks for RNG. So picking up their bottom lane to start this match off.
You know, Braum has just continued to rise in popularity. I mean, has been first or second rotated every game, I think, today. And is seeing a lot of play in the LPL right now. Does open the door for other melee supports to come back in. Also, you know, can get bullied by some range supports. I mean, Karma's still not a great matchup for Braum.
Speaking of Karma, is left open and available. Vici did pick it up for the mid lane last game. Looks like they want to pick it up again here. Could possibly be flexed as a support still.
Yeah, exactly right. Depending on what matchup they get for it in the mid lane. I mean, Azir is still available for Xiaohu to be able to go back towards. Karma Ashe is a good lane.
And they're going to be taking the Ashe. Uzi decides to lock in the Sivir in this game, so Ashe is going to be the pickup of choice for Endless.
And you know, people are used to Uzi playing the likes of Vayne, the likes of Caitlyn, even a little bit of Tristana. When he played on OMG, he was pretty much a Sivir one-trick. I mean, they just threw him on the utility every stage of the game. Sivir was incredibly strong, of course, going into MSI, but that was pretty much all he was playing, Fish, and he has learned how to play it really well.
Certainly has. I mean, if anything, that MVP performance from Game 2 is enough to show how good of an Ashe he was. Sivir as well, he's fairly decent at champion. He's been picking them up quite a lot so far in the Summer Split of the LPL. He's been dropping the Caitlyn as of late. But it is going to be the Victor and Trundle being picked up as RNG's next 2 picks.
So once again, the Azir has been completely let go. We had in our color meeting, Azir gods facing off against each other, and you know, no one's just picked it. So what do we know? Over and out. But Trundle, for the first time, probably going to be heading towards that top lane, unless Lupa has learnt a wicked Braum lately. And we'll see how it goes.
Who knows? We could still get, you know, that glimmer of hope of the Azir being picked up by one of these 2.
I feel like if it's been picked 1 out of 6, I mean, you know, I don't think that's good enough.
Possibly.
Majority it is, but I don't think it is. I think we're going to abandon the storyline.
Well, if Easyun somehow pulls out a massive victory off the back of this Azir, could definitely still be a major storyline of the Azir gods, one picking them up to win the game 3, but it is locked in for Easyun, and it seems like they're going to go for Echo as their top lane pick of choice.
Yeah, Echo has lost a little bit of favor at the moment, but, you know, still able to do good things. Got a big nerf, and, you know, AP Echo has been changed. And MLXG going towards a Gragas.
Yeah, RNG know exactly what they want going into game number 3 as MLXG does lock in the Gragas as his pick.
Well, it has quite a good matchup against Rek'Sai, and also it wins the 2v2. So Gragas is really good at repositioning Azir after he has his wall or something like that. Also means that he's very easy to dive. So I like the Gragas pickup here. I think it fits brilliantly into the composition, gives them some much-needed initiation out of the jungle. And I was actually looking, like, where do they get their initiation? So Gragas definitely a good pickup right now for RNG. Once again, 2 5v5 team fights going into each other. And may the best team win. They're such similar. It's just that RNG on paper are so much more stacked.
Certainly, especially with the names that they have in their team. I mean, these are the MSI representatives, barring Uzi, who was the newest AD carry pickup at the start of the Summer Split for RNG in the LPL. And he's been doing wonders for RNG as well.
Yeah, he certainly has. I mean, when Mata was asked at MSI, you know, what is a team that could beat SKT, he famously said, Lupa, MLXG, Xiaohu, Uzi, and myself. And, you know, leaving Wushin out. And then Uzi did take his spot. But we'll see whether they can beat Vici.
Yeah, let's see if they can do this as we head into game number 3 between Vici and RNG. We're on to Summoner's Rift for the third and final match between Vici and RNG, and also the final match for LPL today.
Really? That's sad. I'm having fun at the moment.
Unfortunately, Swan, it is the final match in the LPL here tonight.
I mean, we've had some pretty aggressive games, to be honest, Fish. Looking back at the team... Oh,
it's not stopping just yet. There's a pillar coming out to block off Caveman, and already first blood in this game. Yeah,
as we said, we've had some very aggressive games tonight as Fish's pen goes sailing over the desk. We didn't even get to the keystones. But that's a Deathfire touch. Victor, you know, used a little bit more for the laning prowess. And RNG get on the board early.
Very early, in fact. I mean, Caveman just got caught walking around Summoner's Rift, and every single member of RNG was active in that kill. Not too much actually burnt in terms of Summoner spells. Actually, there is a lot burnt on terms of Summoner spell. Flashes from top laner, jungler, and support, as well as the exhaust coming out from Mata.
Yeah, it certainly is. So because they've burnt so many Summoner spells, this is a very RNG thing to do. They will just go into the lane swap. They don't want to have to put up with a Ashe Karma lane, so they will just move in towards the top side of the jungle, bully out Dandy and Lung, and then just continue to take the area of the map that they want. Of course, some good vision does spot out this rotation. Also isolates mid lane. The reason that's really important is because Xiaohu went back and got a second ring. And there's just no way EasyHoon can win that matchup anymore. I mean, that is such a hard lane to deal with now that there's a second orange ring picked up on the Victor.
Well, let's see what's going to take place in this match for RNG. Already off to a good start here. Game 1 was a whitewash coming out from Vici. It really looked like RNG were not able to bounce back from their 2-1 defeat against Team WE in the earlier game that we played this week. But game 2, they fought hard and strong, were able to pick up a decisive victory. Already off to a good start here in game 3. You can already see how much EasyHoon's being zoned in this mid lane. Victor is not relentless. Victor is relentless in terms of pressure right now.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, you know, EasyHoon's doing the right thing. He's trying to make him play against a creep wave. It's just that Xiaohu's ignoring that for the time being. Big burst damage coming out of the Azir, of course, did take the Thunderlords. But Deathfire's touch means that, you know, these little poke trades just whittle you down and make you burn much needed potions early on.
Certainly do, and he's been doing a good job so far, but like I said, EasyHoon trying to push it in towards his turret as fast as he possibly can. Dandy now going to be able to take away his red buff. MLXG working on the red buff on his side of the map.
And because the lane swap was matched here out of Vici, I mean, they want to fight them. RNG send their duo lane back, pick up some boots, and they're going to try and rotate this one around the map as quickly as possible. Lupa's job is kind of to protect those last 3 minions and see if they can get a kill.
Long going to get tagged up by the Winter Spike there, but is able to dash through the pillar that came out from Trundle.
That was actually a really nice dash, so gets himself to relative safety. Probably going to have to burn a teleport to get into the top lane and continue this lane swap. But it will mean that for now... There it is. Oh, no, it's just a Braum. He's not going to be able to stop it. I thought the Trundle was with him for a second. I was going to say, that is a really cute alteration. But looks like just regular lane swap going down, and RNG get the early game that they were looking for.
Certainly do, and they're going to be able to get some good damage on towards this bot lane outer turret. Both top laners use their teleport to get to that faster, but Lupus will be back up and available quicker here as Xiaohu now being jumped on by EasyHoon. Dandy was looking to try and get the jump towards the Victor as well, but Ghost was popped. He's flashing forward though. Karma's even trying to get in amongst the action. They do get both summoner spells away from RNG's mid laner.
Yeah, they use both summoner spells, and EasyHoon only has to use the heal for a little bit of a speed up. Xiaohu now in a little bit of trouble because he's got a big wave building towards him and he doesn't want to let it go. Can't hold him back anymore. And, you know, we'll see whether this little bit of a power swing helps the Victor out enough.
No potions left available for Victor as well. So we're going to have to see if he can hold on to that mid lane.
MLXG comes across to lend a helping hand, make sure that he doesn't, his mid laner doesn't get pressured out too much. And now, all of a sudden, Mata's here.
Tags him with the Winter's Bite, tries to slow him up, doesn't get the concussive blows down, but MLXG in a little bit of trouble here as well as Dandy and Kame are going to try and chase him out. They've got a good knock-up onto the Gragas. Does that flash available? A flash forward from Endless, trying to get the volley down to take down MLXG.
He got sniped.
It doesn't actually take MLXG down.
That was so close. I mean, that Prey Seeker was like on the very cusp of being able to get it done. Means that they all will have to go back to base. Good use of pots there, actually, to keep himself alive, Mr. MLXG. And it will look like everything just returns back to normal. I mean, Looper continuing this lane swap. Echo was left on the top side of the map as well. They're both now going to be shoved off creeps, but that was incredibly close.
Certainly was. Vici almost pull it back for themselves here. As Easyhoon does go back to base and picks up a Negatron cloak for himself. Victor, in the meantime, has gone back to base, just upgraded his Hex Core instead. And they're still pushing on the bottom side of the map here, as now Endless moves back down towards the bottom lane with Caveman.
That was really nicely done from Looper as well. I mean, he's able to pick up the whole creep wave. And it looks like due to that fact, they're actually going to try and make it freeze for Lung and join the top lane 2v2 one more time. They're pretty relentless in actually picking this one up. In fact, Ash goes back and gets Swifties to make sure that she can chase Uzi around the map as fast as possible. RNG are going to know now, see if they just shove the wave out and leave one more time.
Still, though, just pushing down the outer turrets in the top and bottom lane, respectively. Nothing too fancy coming out from these two teams. A lot of action taking place in the mid lane, but the only kill so far was the bottom lane surprise that RNG gave to Caveman.
And Uzi's actually got himself a 20 CS lead. I mean, it's not even replicated on the other side of the map. Normally when you see this, it will be an Echo with a huge advantage. Endless burning a potion to be able to freeze this wave up, but Uzi probably goes back, gets himself probably quite a nice shot, something like a Caulfield's Warhammer. Actually only has another longsword, so not all that much ahead.
Goes for all the mini swords. Doran's blade with the Cole and double longsword. Quite a lot of swords to hold, to be honest.
That's alright, he's Siva. She's a bandit. She has a bag and stuff to hold him in.
Victor a little bit more ideal, you know, rings, just put them on your fingers.
Yep.
Easy
One
got
staff,
them too.
he holds that.
Cloak wraps around his ear quite nicely.
I wish that actually happened. But as you bought stuff, it actually appeared on your character model.
So you'd see 4 swords being held by Siva at the moment. They'd all be in the bag.
Exactly right. Boots on Rek'Sai. She would look great in little booties. That would be hilarious.
Would she just get one boot, or would she have boot for every single foot?
Every foot. Come on. She's not a homeless person.
Meanwhile, Easyhoon's been able to pick up his own blue buff and is moving straight back towards the mid lane. Xiaohu's trying to do what he can to clear out this mid lane as well and go toe-to-toe against the disease. Easyhoon's slowly taking control of this wave as well. He's up in CS too.
Easyhoon's actually had a really good laning phase thanks to Dandy. I mean, that early gank put the Victor right back behind after picking up an early kill. Had to burn both summoner spells, and they were hanging around his lane for quite a long time, and Easyhoon's just been able to use that to continue to push in. So the early first blood gold was completely nullified by some really good jungling.
RNG able to successfully take away the pink ward that was put deep into their territory there. Is MLXG going to get jumped on by Dandy. The Rek'Sai dealing a lot of damage towards the Gragas, but he gets what he came for, which was the red buff.
And now all of a sudden they're heading towards the top lane. I mean, Mata and Uzi need to get out of there. Uzi is left behind.
There's the On the Hunt being popped by the Siva. Going to be able to get him back to safety.
And you know, they were sending everyone up there. Now all of a sudden they swap map side with the Rek'Sai to continue the farming, but they get the On the Hunt. That was all they were waiting for.
Xiaohu's also able to head down and pick up his own blue buff as he falls 20 CS behind Easyhoon at the moment. So still about 500 goldish in favor of RNG. Nothing too drastic this early into the game.
And once again, you know, because of a deep invade, as Lupa and Lung have a little bit of a tango, because of a deep invade into the red side of the jungle for Vici, it means that they know MLXG was pretty much out of mana, had to go back to base. So, Easyhoon free to continue this push in the mid lane, continue to bully out. We already said that his Azir is very good. We know from people like Rookie and even Dade back in the day that Azir can be a heavy lane bully, and is definitely being shown that way.
Certainly can, and he's doing just that in the mid lane so far. Even with first blood, Xiaohu's been struggling for now. Like you said, Dandy put a lot of help into the mid lane there. Meanwhile, up at the top side of the map, even though it was frozen here by Endless, Uzi still ahead in terms of CS, approaching 20 up again.
Yeah, exactly right. And you see that Endless wanted to shop, instead not going to be able to, has to stay here and fight the lane. Actually bringing more people over to help one more time. Marta's being caught.
Danny gets the jump on top of the Braum here, gets lots of damage down with the red buff. Marta going to be able to evade the Enchanted Chris Arrow and jump back towards Uzi to get to safety. Izzyhoon jumps up to the top side of the map, but the heal will come out from Uzi as well as the flash from Marta to get him to safety.
Yeah, that's really nicely done. One more time, Izzyhoon. This is the improvement in his game. He's not content just winning out his lane, has decided to try and rotate around the map and sort that one out. Gets another flash for himself. They actually leave him up top. That is risky because he doesn't deal with ganks very well at all.
Well, there's a flash forward from MLXG. Izzyhoon's knocked back into the team. Shurima shuffles his way out and gets to safety.
Actually had the ultimate there, Uzi. Didn't want to burn it. Didn't want to use the flash. Instead, they just settle for the double summoner spell out of the Azir. And the fact that they can now use that to maybe recoup some of the advantages lost in the mid lane.
Unless you're in a little bit of trouble here as Dandy is able to go toe-to-toe against him. Chips down a little bit of his health.
And you know, I wonder if Xiaohu's actually just running the wrong Runes and Mastery setup, because I mentioned the fact that he took Death by a Touch. That is pretty much what you would exclusively take on Malzahar at the moment, and not what you would take on the Victor. So not giving him a way out, but if you want to use it for yourself, the little tiger, go for it. You know, just wrong Runes and Mastery. Never in my control.
Vici is still trying to defend this top lane outer turret. I mean, the turret did fall during the initial lane swap for both teams, but it's been Vici the one that do not want to go with the gentleman's agreement and continue this push.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't. You know, they've been able to use that to create pressure points, especially in this mid lane, trying to get into the top lane as much as possible as well.
See the items that have been picked up so far. Long actually going straight for a Sheen on his Echo, not yet picking up the tanky stats first.
And the fact that Long is 20 CS up is actually really impressive on something like the Echo, because Trundle does win out in the matchup in a 1v1. Of course, going with Sheen nullifies that somewhat because you don't give him any stats to steal and actually do quite a bit of damage. See where he goes from here, if it is a pure tank Echo or some weird hybrid.
Xiaohu's actually been pulled down towards the bottom side of the map here, looking to try and clear it out against the Echo. Trundle has been happy feeding inside of the jungle towards the top side of the map. Yeah,
they've actually sent Looper back up there because they want to start pressuring some dragons and, you know, maybe a 5v5 team fight. But in saying that, it has been frozen for quite some time up here. So it's going to be hard for them to get it done. They really need to get MLXG down there and start getting some control of vision, because right now there is just no pressure. Because Scuttle Crab as well as the Deep Vision all belongs to the Vici lineup.
Good damage coming out from Izzyhoon to try and poke out the Victor in mid lane. He's still doing a good job of controlling this lane as well. Still about 20 CS up ahead of the Victor. It's just stalemated there for now. He's gone back to base, picked up a needlessly large rod for himself.
Yeah, so rushing towards what is a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, just wants to be able to provide some control in the matchup. A lot of upgrades going into Xiaohu's Scepter right now for himself.
Uzi also not going for the Infinity Edge build that we've seen a couple of Silvers pick up today. Instead going for the more standard Essence Reaver.
And this is strange to me because they've thrown Looper in pretty much a 1v3, but he has no wave clear. I don't know how he's going to be able to do it.
Danny, though, looking to try and take away this red buff. He's been jumped on by Xiaohu, though. MLSG does get locked down by the Enchanted Chris Arrow. Does get the smite towards the red buff, but at what cost? Does it cost him his life? Martin now trying to get up top here. Going to be jumped on by two members of Vici.
He's going to die.
Parallel Convergence has come out. Looper now in the back lines, but Vici, they're dealing with this quite nicely so far. Xiaohu actually paused to use the Ghost to try and catch up to the rest of the team. And although there's some blinking health bars on Vici, they get 2 picks for that.
Yeah, so they're able to grab 2 picks, and the reason that that's a bad team fight to take is your 80 carry and supporter on the bottom side of the map, whereas it's a teleport user for Vici, so he gets right in there. Now, Izzyhoon in some trouble.
Spell shield quite nicely from Uzi, negates the ultimate coming out from Izzyhoon, but like you said, in a little bit of trouble underneath that turret, quite low. No mana on the Victor, though, to contest for that turret.
So in the end, it's just going to be the ultimate burnt. Thought he had to use it in the previous exchange, had not. But RNG, you know, they had a little bit of an early advantage. They've thrown pretty much all of it away now. It's going to be hard to rebuild the lead under such a control composition. I mean, they're just going to start looking for picks now, Vici. And they just have all the CC in the world to be able to layer in with it.
Certainly are. Now they're back in control of this game too, especially with Easyhoon on this Azir. He joked about it a little bit during Champions League, but it is a very comfortable champion for Easyhoon.
Oh, 100%. You know, he's already shown during the laning phase that he is pretty much masterfully manipulating where the wave is at all stages of the game. Dandy also showing what he does when he's on a quicker jungler than someone. He's put pretty much 5 camps between himself and MLXG. So doing a good job in that regard.
CS scores are now creeping up for Vici. They're ahead in the jungle mid lane and top lane. Bottom lane only a 10 CS difference between Endless and Uzi.
And this is kind of the way that Vici want to play the game. I mean, this is why we say that, arrow coming across, looking for the mid laner.
See if it connects. Victor not going to get hit by that, but it was rather close.
Yeah, that grazed him, I'm pretty sure, at that stage. See whether MLXG is able to pick up this dragon for himself. Looks like he's going to be able to.
Having some troubles with the other Cloud Dragon. Meanwhile, top side of the map, Lung going toe-to-toe against Looper. We're going to take a look at the dragon being taken down by MLXG, though. So first dragon falls for
This
RNG.
is something that should have happened earlier. I mean, Looper should be able to bully this lane. Lung can't really get away from him all that quickly. And sapping some of those resistances as well as the AD just hurts out Echo in this matchup. However, you have to say that Vici have the game exactly where they want it. They're just, honestly, the fact that they let go of the dragon, a little bit unfortunate because they would have wanted to use it to make some picks. You know, push up that lane with the Ashe, be able to get her into Fog of War and just start firing arrows towards the mid lane. The reason that RNG felt so confident in doing so is he fired it from max range and it just didn't hit Shahu. Instead, get him a little bit closer to that mid lane, start looking for the picks and take some objectives off the back end of it.
He's actually going to find him up on the top side of the map here. Stops the recall coming out from Long and going to continue pushing on the top side of the map.
Yeah, nicely done there. It means that they're going to be able to get Uzi and Mata into the lane as well. Be able to contest for that tier 1 top lane turret. Bottom lane will fall in response for Vici. See whether they decide to push through. They have brought up 3 members. Doesn't look like it.
Turret will fall though, so RNG able to pick up the turret for themselves on the top side of the map. Vici a little bit slower, but will eventually take down the bottom lane outer turret, tying up the turrets 2-2 and extending the side lanes in the map.
Yeah, exactly right. And this kind of favors both teams because if it is going to be a 1v1 and you're able to get an Ashe arrow, maybe you change the tide. However, you get a full-blown team fight in one of these side lanes. All of a sudden, it's a Sivir composition that should be able to run over the top of you in what is an extended lane. However, both teams just jockeying. It's only 700 gold right now. You'd say that maybe nullified from the Cloud Drakers. Now they go.
And listen, a little bit of trouble here as Mata pops the ultimate,
Don't
locks him down. He's got
line.
no flash to get over that, and will get taken down by Uzi.
And use the Crystal Arrow. That is inexcusable out of Endless. I mean, if you're going to flash, don't flash in a straight line. If you're going to die, don't use an ultimate. I mean, you're just compounding an issue right now. RNG able to pick that one up. Now maybe looking for a gank in the top lane as well out of MLXG, although Lung doing the right thing here, just backs away into Fog of War.
So RNG do get the pick for themselves and tie up the gold, which has been dead even for the past 20 minutes. A stark contrast from games 1 and 2, where Vici held game 1 quite nicely. RNG held game 2 very well. So very even between these two teams. As Blue Buff going to get taken away by Dandy, unless you're not able to steal that one. As Easyhoon tries to scoop him back in towards his team, but good flashes come out from both players.
Yeah, flash for flash. I mean, Easyhoon went for the play. That is what we expect out of him. All of a sudden, Dandy tries to cross-map one more time. He uses his Rek'Sai ult really nicely to do that. You see him on one side of the map. Maybe Uzi and Mata think they're safe. He ults straight away to the opposite side of the map and tries to make a play. Not able to grab it there, but has worked in the past.
Still dead even between these two teams. Caveman needs to be a little bit careful. Does put a ward down and spots a wild Uzi and Mata from the tall grass.
Didn't decide to throw a Pokemon ball at that one. Of course, the shield was up, so it would have been repelled anyway. Just headbutt it back. As a lot of my adventures do tend to turn out right now, Fish.
Can confirm.
I wonder... We'll talk about it later.
Danny's actually moving towards the top side of the map here. Has been spotted out by a pink ward. Lupa's already trying to run away here, but flashed on by the Rek'Sai. Lots of damage being put on top of this Trundle. Flashes straight into the wall. Not quite what you want to see here as Lupa does get taken down by Dandy.
Yeah, and he definitely would have lived. I mean, Dandy wasn't going to be able to follow after that one, so a little bit unfortunate. Also, a huge creep wave now going to be pushed into the top side of the map, and there really is no response out of the RNG lineup, and unless they go for a weird and wacky dive down here, which doesn't look out of the realm of the possibility.
They're looking to try and push for this bottom lane inner turret. RNG got 3 members already working on that one. Vici, with that pick on the top side of the map, able to take down the top lane inner turret with ease, though.
But you have to say that this is an increase in the macro game out of RNG, because at MSI, I'm not sure they would have made that play. I'm not sure if a member gets picked off on top lane, they immediately send 4 people bottom to generate a turret on their self. I mean, sure, they don't get the gold from the kill, but they keep it relatively even just through trading the turret. So I have to say that international players definitely taught the lineup a thing or two.
Certainly has. Still dead even between these two teams. We're 20 minutes into this game spawn. Nothing tremendous has happened on either side of the map.
Yeah, nothing is giving it all, actually. I mean, you see a pick in the bottom lane, Endless gets cleaned up, uses an ultimate, fails a flash. You see top lane, Lupa uses an ultimate, fails a flash to try and get away as well. So mistakes coming out of both teams. You can see the pressure definitely starting to kick in. But just macro trades of turrets being across the board, it's 3-3. Means that the game's still relatively even. In fact, it is just that gold lead due to the kill that really is in favor of Vici right now.
Both teams being relatively quiet. Dragons will be coming back up in 25 seconds.
Xiaohu needs to be careful here. I mean, Lung can probably 1v1 him at this stage of the game. He's going towards a Trinity Force.
Huh. Interesting. Not going for the Iceborne Gauntlet. We see a lot of Echoes pick up instead. He wants to deal some damage here, Spawn.
It's actually impressed me. I mean, that is a way to deal with a Sivir. Going to be able to keep up with the Phage procs.
He's still farming that one out. Went for the Spirit Visage first. So did Rek'Sai. So negating a lot of the magic damage that will come out from RNG.
Of course, one of the biggest nerfs that hit Echo as well was the fact that Iceborne Gauntlet no longer did 125 base damage. It was only 100. I believe Trinity Force still does 150. So it kind of makes up for that area of it. Sea Drive's Resonance was taken down. A little bit in movement speed. Of course, now the Phage being in the build going to help it out. He's pretty much a pre-nerf Echo right now.
Xiaohu actually forced to ghost away from Danny here. Meanwhile, RNG able to take down another Cloud Dragon for their team.
Yeah, they run real quick out of combat right now. I mean, they are going to zoom, my friend. It's not meant anything so far, nor do I expect it to mean anything for the rest of the game, but just for those watching at home. Do you know the best thing about Cloud Drake, actually? It's not even, it's just the particle. It looks
it's
great.
just the cape?
As an aesthetically pleasing Drake to take. Nothing else really looks any good when you take it.
Well, hopefully we get another, because then we get the nice blue Demon's cape that we get out of RNG. They pick up one more. There's already a little bit of it on their champions at the moment.
You can see Victor just moves quick in general, so got to go fast.
Is Vici now looking to try and move towards the bottom side of the map and take down the last inner turret and a side lane for their team. As they're going to jump on towards EasyHoon, who Shurima shuffles out of the way quite nicely again.
Yeah, just able to get out of there. So big cooldowns expended out of Mata and Uzi mean nothing. And instead they're now looking to try and collapse on this bottom lane. But they don't have the Sivir ulti, they don't have the Braum ulti.
Yeah, lots of damage on towards Lung here. Chaos Storm going to chunk him out quite nicely, but it seems like it's just a defense mechanism from Xiaohu.
Yeah, I think that Lung actually ran there because he wanted to be able to teleport away if they did get in any kind of fight. Looks like no fight going to be forthcoming instead. RNG just trying to control these waves. Now Lung, that he actually doesn't have to teleport away. This is going to kill him.
Over the gravity field to pick that one up. A solo kill from Lung onto Xiaohu.
Yeah, as I said, like the only logical thing was he thought that RNG were moving towards that bottom lane to try and set up a 4v4. And Xiaohu was ulting him to keep him away from being able to teleport. Of course, it does break channels. So Lung waits it out, makes sure that there is no 4v4 happening on the other side of the map. Doesn't have to swing it in his advantage, so he just takes the 1v1 fight. And Xiaohu may be a little bit overconfident. Falls down.
This is aggressive from Vici, looking to try and rush down the Baron. Trinity Force completed for Lung, so he's even adding a lot of damage for this fight.
Looper coming
now
in. Here
getting
we go.
it low. There's a 3-second teleport timer coming in. MLSG's in the pit. He steals it away. MLSG takes the Baron away from Vici, and now they are stuck inside the Baron pit. Dandy trying to do what he can, but he's going to get locked down by the concussive blows. Uzi's running towards the wrong side of the map, but they're just the sacrificial lambs for RNG. As MLSG comes out on top with the steal.
Hey, a Baron for 2 members. We take that most days of the week where I'm from. So RNG, through their jungler, MLXG come up absolutely massive. You can see the gold is exactly the same right now. So we take another look at it. He just sets down the cast, gets a percentage health damage, explodes, and is able to pick it up with the big one. Gets shifted out to safety by EasyHoon. Thank you so much for the ride. We're going to run upwards and not die to you today. Unfortunately, Uzi and Mata, as you said, sacrificial lambs, but what a play out of the jungler of RNG. Unfortunately, Xiaohu doesn't have it, so they're not going to be able to apply it to 3 lanes, but 2 should be enough.
That's a lot of damage from Uzi.
Yeah, he was just running backwards, hitting the tank in the head, so you expect that.
Still a huge play from MLXG. Now the gold is even between the 2 teams, trading the 2 kills for technically 5 kills, being 300 gold per person on that Baron buff. And with that Baron, we have to see what they can do as they try to push for more objectives.
Yeah, that certainly should be the play, although they're sending Uzi once again to some side lane farm. They want his Infinity Edge before they really start to 5v5, and there is no armor built up, so I don't blame them for getting a little bit greedy in this regard. Instead, just using the Baron to kind of stall out any push that would be coming out of Vici. But do need to make sure that they don't get picked in the process, because Uzi on the bottom side of the map is being incredibly greedy right now. I mean, he's overextending so far against what is a Rek'Sai as well as an Ashe.
Dandy was actually looking to collapse on towards the top side of the map. Looper gonna have to push this wave out. Does have the Baron buff still, so the minions will push nicely. He's got Titanic Hydra on his Trundle. Not opting to go for the Ravenous Hydra.
Yeah, a little bit more of a team fight item. I mean, in the split push, the passive is what gets you back most of your health anyway. It's 500 health versus lifesteal, and I like the 500 health, so I don't blame Looper at all. Of course, doesn't reset your auto attack animation, instead just gives you a huge auto attack next time around, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the old Ravenous.
Still, RNG not pulling the trigger anytime soon despite having Baroned up minions. Trundle is still split pushing on the top side of the map. Echo's doing the exact same thing for Vici down in the bottom
Really
lane.
nice rotation, however, here. Using those 2 Cloud Drakes to get themselves into the other part of the map. They need MLXG there to be able to buff up these minions, however, otherwise they die too quickly. They will use the Baron for the first time and the Cloud Drakes to be able to pick themselves up an outer turret.
Yep, they take down the top lane outer turret. And they even send Trundle down towards the bottom side of the map to stop them.
Uzi's in trouble.
It's been hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Pops on the hunt to try and run away. Dandy is looking to try and get the flank down, but only knocks up Mata. The rest of the team going to be able to slow him down with the gravity field as well as the ultimate coming out from MLXG just to knock them back.
That's actually a huge mistake out of Dandy. Dandy was fighting MLXG for a Gromp. I mean, you don't need the 100 gold. Get over the wall and take down Uzi, who had just been nailed by an arrow. Instead, they just don't get anything for their effort. I mean, really nicely done by Mata to be able to zone them out. Now Xiaohu may be in a little bit of trouble.
They're going to try and collapse. Lung, though, is able to get the Time Winder down and flashes away. Xiaohu getting jumped on here, but does have Mata to get him to safety. Pop the Ghost to get into the back of that one. Meanwhile, Caveman already taken down. Endless is stuck as he's going to get taken down next. MLG over the wall to get behind the Azir wall as well. Lung now the last man standing as they're going to chase him down. Dandy's already run the heck away from this team fight. Lung trying to do what he can to distract RNG. They've got their eyes set on the prize, looking to push down mid lane.
Yeah, they're not catching Lung. I mean, he's just too quick with Trinity Force. However, they do manage to get an advantageous team fight for themselves. They take down 3 members for just Uzi, and now maybe finally will look to break the mid lane turret. I'm like, she and Dandy, just cut it out, will you? And stop chasing the Echo. Go mid lane.
They're still chasing that Echo. Unfortunately, it's just Mata and now MLXG join the party. They're going towards the bottom lane.
Now, in fact, they actually might kill Mata. They're going to... No, they're not. All right, cool.
Something's going on down there,
has joined it. Lung is still getting chased.
He's now going to get caught out and will finally get taken out. Took them some time though, Spawn.
So he dies, and they get mid lane turrets. They get the best of both worlds. Fish, who am I to judge? They also take away the blue buff. RNG just taking away every advantage right now. They're 4,000 gold up.
Yeah, picked up a nice 4,000 gold lead for themselves ahead of Vici, despite being a kill behind Vici. And everything was just looking great for them in game number 3, but that Baron steal from LXG has just turned everything around for RNG.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, they were able to even get the pick. They were exactly where they wanted, but Gragas is so deceptive in his burst damage. I mean, his W just does so much to neutral monsters, and then when you throw the cask on top of it, it's definitely not old school Gragas, where you just couldn't start Baron if he was a mid laner on the other team, because he would just chuck a cask at it and walk away from about 1,500 health. But he still is very hard to outsmart in that regard.
Certainly is, and you know, Runic X as well, helping him out there as Mountain Dragons can be picked up by RNG, so no Dead Man's Cape, but big objective for them to be picked up, and Elder Dragon is going to be spawning next.
Yeah, it certainly is. Of course, Elder Dragon does amplify the movement speed on Air Drake, so we still can see it, Fish. Don't be such a negative Nancy about it. Do want to talk about itemization a little bit, because Vici have gone so heavily into magic resistance this game, and it has meant that Uzi, on pretty much the AoE 80 carry in Sivir, has been able to just itemize into crit and attack damage. Xiaohu's in some trouble.
Lots of trouble here. Parallel Convergence is not going to lock him down.
Here we go again.
Uzi's going to be popping on the hunt to try and chase down Long. The Time Winder is going to stop them from advancing any more forward, as the ultimate coming out from Victor is just not going to be enough. Long healing up just nicely there. Now MSG being locked down, exhausted as well, and despite Dandy is in the amongst of it, as Mata puts down the ultimate to lock him down. There's a Guardian Angel on this Rek'Sai, so difficult for him to take him down. Suddenly there's a deep teleport coming in for
Long. He's just getting back to safety. Yeah. So that was a really strange team fight again. Uzi just chased Long to the end of the earth. And meanwhile, his team nearly lost a team fight because of it. RNG really need to focus on what is priority here, and that is killing the Ashe, killing the Azir. Because they, for some reason, have an obsession with this Echo.
Well, I don't think Vici are going to complain too much about that one. Pretty happy that they're chasing the tank to the ends of the earth. Still a 4,000 gold lead for RNG at the moment. As another turret falls down for RNG. They pick up another inner.
Mata getting a little bit chunked out here. MLXG wants it.
He finds Dandy there. Going to get the body bopped down. As a pillar comes down as well to separate the Rek'Sai from the rest of the team. And Chana Chris Hour going to land straight on top of the Gragas. Dandy looks like he wants to go in. On the hunt being popped by Uzi again. Xiaohu looking for this one. Ultimate Promotion, she just separates the team. As a big parallel convergence locks down 3 of RNG. Vici are still chasing. Dandy's into the backlines, knocks them up, gets his Guardian Angel popped, and the rest of RNG looking for the re-engages. There's the ultimate coming out from the Azir to separate the Xiaohu's into the backlines, but gets obliterated as Long as still trying to fight this one out. Jumps over the wall. They trade 1 for 1.
So in the end, the hero play tries to come out of Xiaohu, but it's just not enough. But Uzi does have the damage to be able to ricochet through the whole team. They stacked up for him very nicely. They will get the objective on the back end of it, extending the lead to about 5,000 gold. But you can see that Lung right now is the biggest pest on the entirety of Summoner's Rift. He just won't die.
Certainly won't, and Vici fought that team fight quite well despite being behind, picking and choosing when they should be engaging and backing off. Pretty brilliant from Vici.
Yeah, it certainly was, and you know, once again, good ulti.
So Arrow comes past, good juke shoes coming out from Uzi there. Mata puts up the shield to stop it even further. Forced to use on the hunt, but that's on a pretty low cooldown thanks to the Essence Reaper.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you can see how much these two members of the team just trust each other. Pretty much implicitly. I mean, Uzi doesn't burn any of his summoner spells. Mata is there in front of him just in the nick of time. It's actually really nice to watch them play League of Legends together. Last Whisper finally being picked up by Uzi means that he's going to be able to dish out a lot of damage in these team fights, even further to what he was before. Mata a little bit caught out.
Takes a little bit of damage, but the pillar is able to displace Caveman. Now, Dandy, the one in a little bit of trouble. Concussive blows not going to land as Mata takes a lot more damage in return. Dandy getting sped up, looking to try and get into the backside of that fight. This Parallel Convergence does land onto 2 key members, but no Lung to power it up. And
one more time, just a back and forth team fight, jockeying for position around this Baron. gets a little bit angry there. Caveman, get out of my cave. Big creep wave on the bottom lane needs to be addressed right now. Out of Vici. RNG know that. They walk in, they take control of the pit.
No teleport for long at the moment, so it's going to be difficult for him to go down to defend that one. RNG looking to try and get position over the Baron buff. A Scuttle Crab was taken by Vici, so they can spot their every move they choose to do so. Blue buff now under contest as MLXG looking to try and take that one away. Smite it down, and it's actually Uzi that picks it up.
Yeah, they probably wanted that one to go over to Xiaohu, but in saying that, they know that the Echo doesn't have teleport for another couple of seconds. So should be able to jockey quite successfully for positioning.
Well, Lung's moving back up.
Yeah, he only took one wave, so really nice play out of Lung. Lung's actually played this game pretty terrifically, 4-1 and 3.
Teleport's now back up and available. So Lung can join this fight if he needs to at any given time.
And honestly, I don't know who wins a 5v5 because there's not really the greatest initiation right now out of RNG. In saying that, persistent damage out of Uzi and Easy Hoon are just so high right now.
Now Looper getting jumped on by Dandy actually takes a lot of damage there. And Chana Cristauer will land onto the front line tank, and immediately a team fight has started.
Here we go.
As Long takes a lot of burst damage trying to get into the front of that fight. Uzi pops on the hunt trying to chase them all down. There's the ultimate being dropped down by Xiaohu trying to chip away at the rest of Vici, who just put up a sand turret and runs straight behind the safety of their defense.
Yeah, they certainly do, but all of a sudden they're going to move towards Baron. Mata still has ultimate. MLXG has ultimate, as does Looper. This is a huge power play right now.
Let's see what they can do here as Danny's going to be the first one to
knocked out.
check in. Gets knocked straight back in. Uzi picks up the kill. That's the jungler dead. Long now the target for RNG. They take him down. A double kill for Uzi as they're still chasing. Looper will have the pillar available shortly. Can't get him out of the shuffle as MLXG wants to go for the flank, but RNG get the single pick and get the top laners picked down and go straight back towards the Baron.
Yeah, they certainly do, and as we said, they just held key ultimates. You saw the Mata ultimate. Now Uzi's using his one more time.
He's got the underhunt popped, looking to try and chase them down, but they just scare them away even further. RNG going to go straight back towards the Baron, playing it very slow and steady.
Yeah, they certainly are. Two members already started up. It's a two big tanks. Everyone else will be able to join right now. That one will burn down, and maybe the series is finally closed for Vici. They're about 10,000 gold behind. And RNG, it took them nearly 40 minutes this time, but they're starting to put the screws in.
They certainly are. 8,000 gold in the lead. It certainly has not looked like that throughout most of this game. It still doesn't, actually. But Vici now definitely fighting from the back foot, especially against the Baron up RNG.
Yeah, it really is Uzi that has a lot of the advantage. I mean, he's 6 items right now compared to just the 5. Pretty much whole item ahead available for the jungler as well. MLXG having a much better game 2 and 3 than he had game number 1.
RNG now looks like they really want to just go straight for the Elder Dragon. Arrow coming out from Endless is not going to connect with anyone from RNG.
Yeah, they're getting desperate. They're just fishing with it. And of course, he does have the Essence Reaver, so not a huge cooldown, but this just means that they have nothing to really fight around the Elder Drake with.
Whew.
I'm like, gee, what are you doing down there?
Looking like he wants to try and flank the rest of the team. Elder Dragon has already been started by the rest of RNG. Gragas is moving around the back of the pit. The rest.
So Elder Dragon's kind of like Old Baron. It hits really hard, so you have to commit to it. Can't really juggle it this way. You can see that Looper's at half health. Marta's also joined him.
Well, it's down to about 5,000 health here. MLXG's trying to separate the rest of the team. Jumps back over the pit, no longer trying to flank around. Elder Dragon does reset, so RNG take a lot of damage for trying to start this one up. Instead, they're looking just to clear some of the wards behind them.
But mid lane possession has been gained right now for Vici, so they take that one down. Nicely done from Endless. He's going to continue to push. And if they can't get an initiation, they're on the complete wrong side of the map.
Let's see what happens here as MLXG tags up the Elder one more time. Danny going to get caught out by the pillar. Looper's going to now try and chase him down. That seems like who they want to be initiating on, but Mata taking a lot of
Uzi's still
damage.
taking the dragon.
Goes straight back in. Long is straight on top of Uzi. He has to try and flash away. Endless is able to pick up the first kill towards the support. Long just takes his ultimate to get the heck out of there. There goes the ultimate from Looper trying to take it down. Flash forward from MLXG separates the team. They take down the support and now chasing onto Easy Hoon. But it's not going to be enough because they only trade supports in that entire team fight. Eventually, Danny may go down here, but Lung is going to continue chasing on towards Xiaohu. Lupa's here as well to try and mitigate some of the damage dealt. The laser comes out, not going to be enough as Lung tries to jump away, but gets taken down by Lupa. Suddenly, MXG is in trouble. Will get taken down by Easyhoon. Uzi's trying to run away from Danny.
Xiaohu!
And there goes Xiaohu. What are you doing? Endless picks up the kill. These would be some chaotic team fights from these two teams.
Uzi kills Danny at the same time. Like, what is going on right now? In the end, it is going to be 3 for 3. It is 80 carry and mid laner for 80 carry and top laner left available. But honestly, for what is an 8,000 gold lead, this is way too close, RNG.
Certainly is, and like you said, no initiation from RNG means just happy feet around the Elder Dragon, not committing to it at all.
Top lane creep wave is massive. I mean, they had the Ashe without an arrow for the entirety of that team fight. They should have just hard committed to the Elder Dragon. Instead, MLXG, I mean, he was doing the Krugs.
Uzi's at 6 items already, though, but hasn't been able to pick up his Maw of Malmortius. And only got the Lord Dominic's Regard previously. Endless is still looking for his own Maw, mirroring the build that's been picked up by Uzi, except for the Rapid Fire Cannon for the Hurricane.
Yeah, haven't seen a Hurricane Civic yet. One day.
Have you seen me play Silver?
No, I haven't. Thank goodness.
Oh yeah, that was Frostgrin that had the nightmare of having to play with me.
But you see, right now, gold is starting to become irrelevant. I mean, the mid lane is pretty much mirrored. It's only half an item for the 80 carry. Pretty much across the board. Apart from the Rek'Sai, everyone else is relatively even. And they're committing towards the blue buff. We'll see whether RNG pull the trigger.
Things are looking scary. MLXG's in the backside of the Elder Dragon pit. Marta trying to sweep out whatever ward he can. They're going to now start the Elder Dragon. Everybody else from the side of Vici are pretty far away at the moment. Dragon down to a quarter.
No good teleporting wards behind, so he has to go to one in front.
Crystal Arrow does come out, misses the entire team.
High wide, not very handsome. See whether they commit this time.
Teleport is used, so they've got 5 members down on the bottom side of the map here. Vici, Elder Dragon really low. Lupa trying to take this one down. MXG's going in, gets the smite off, and now they're going for a full-on 5-on-5 brawl. Danny and Lung, the first 2 members in the front line, are going to take a lot of damage from RNG and locked down here as Lupa gets the first kill onto Danny. Ultimate being popped by Lung to try and stay alive, goes into his Guardian Angel. He's going to be suffocated by so many members of RNG, and they get 2 picks and the Elder Dragon.
Yeah, so in the end, they are able to pick up the Elder Dragon, and they were jockeying for position, but at the end of the day, we're still in China, and they just throw the gauntlet for the 5v5 team fight, and RNG come up massive.
And they're looking to try and push 2 lanes at once, RNG, as they've got 3 members shoving down the mid lane, 2 on the bottom, trying to get it towards both the inhibitor turrets and separate the 3 remaining members of Vici. Easyhood has to stream a shuffle away from danger. Now 5 members of RNG collapsing in. Ellis is knocked back in. A big ultimate coming out from LAG, takes him down. Lupa finds that kill. Endless going to go down, and now they're just pushing on towards the base with the 80 carry down. This could be game. RNG are looking for it.
Certainly could be. Uzi needs to be careful. Takes a lot of his health in damage.
Had to use on the hunt to try and run away. That actually might be a critical mistake to not be able to end the game as RNG have to back off.
Yeah, they can't close. All of a sudden, Uzi took 90% of his health. I mean, if he didn't have the Maw, he's dead. And Easyhoon, we already said, his Azir is coming up massive, able to save it.
3, 2, and 5 on his Azir at the moment. Looking really strong. 378 CS as well. Almost at 6 items. Still sitting on that single Negatron cloak as she gets saved by the pillar. Almost had to cancel his recall there. 45 seconds until another Baron spawns between these 2 teams. And Inhibitor has already been broken by RNG in the mid lane.
This game is on a knife edge. And, we already said it. 78,000 gold. That's what you're looking at to get it back to equal. If they can just survive the next 4 or 5 minutes. Vici going to be behind on Dragons, behind on tempo, but completely even in itemization. Baron coming up in 15 seconds, however. I don't know whether RNG are going to afford them the luxury of stalling this one out any further.
RNG, a Dragon buff is going to be running out quite soon. Might have actually already run out.
Yeah, it certainly has. They're no longer glowing. Super Saiyan 4 no longer achieved.
Baron back up and available. It's a 12,000 gold lead for RNG, and we've mentioned this time and time again. It really doesn't look like there's any gold lead between these two teams right now. 15 to 11 in terms of kills between the two teams as well. 4 turrets to 7 in favor of RNG, with all the dragons being picked up as well. They're looking to try and maintain control of the dragon pit. Uzi is going to be able to
everywhere.
speed up
Here we
his
go.
team. Here comes a flank from MLSG, looking to try and get behind them. On the hunt, not going to be enough to get them close enough for an initiation.
MLXG felt like he could get behind them, but no one else on the team was ready. They burned the On the Hunt, nothing coming.
Well, there's a pillar coming out. Uzi on the other side of the map, looking to try and get some chip damage on towards Dandy. Easy Hoon positioning quite nicely to stop Uzi from coming in anytime soon. Mata jumping over the wall to provide some assistance for the Sivir.
That's what it's about. It's about Easy Hoon versus Uzi right now. Who gets out the AoE damage? So far, it has been Uzi hiding behind his huge front line.
They're jockeying for position at the moment. Another pillar will come out, separates Vici. MLXG still looking to threaten for an initiation. No arrow being thrown just yet by Endless. They're still trying to deal with the super minions in the mid lane. This is a huge stalemate between RNG and Vici. Uzi goes towards his red buff, going to be able to pick that one up for the next fight.
Yeah, Easy Hoon was able to clean out top lane. Huge creep wave on the bottom lane still. Marches in.
He's going for it. Lung's going to get locked out.
Endless.
A massive ultimate coming out for Gragas. Throws the Ash into the team. He's still trying to kite back. Endless is still alive, but Uzi takes him down with the Ricochet, as well as the Echo. Vici are getting demolished. A big ultimate from Easy, and it's not going to be enough, though, as he gets taken down next. Only Dandy left alive, and as soon as he comes out of the Guardian Angel, the ace will come out for RNG with a triple kill coming out from Xiaohu.
And what a terrific team fight. One more time for RNG. That's going to be all she wrote. They'll just march it down mid lane. Vici went with them for 3 games in about 3 hours, but in the end, RNG are just too good.
They certainly are as they march on towards the Nexus turrets. They don't even want their minions there just yet. Looper's going to join in as well, taking out with MLXG. It's going to take some time, but finally the minions will march on towards the Nexus. And RNG, after a hard-fought best of 3 against Vici, take it down 2-1.
And you know, you have to applaud their AD carry again. I mean, the initiations there, what a cast out of MLXG. But Uzi's positioning on those team fight, I mean, he chunks out Endless, backs away, then flashes on top of Easy Hoon to make sure that they secure it. The Emperor of Shuriam has tried everything. You can see that Dandy, he's heartbroken. He really wanted that one after a disappointing series against Snake. But Vici should hold their head high because it was a very well-fought game.
It certainly was. I mean, game 1 and 2 were big contrasts between RNG and Vici, both completely demolishing the other in opposite series. And then game 3 was neck and neck all the way down to the final team fight. So well fought from Vici, but it's just RNG that come out on top.
And you saw how much that meant to Danny. I mean, Mata didn't even go for the hug. He just knew that he was shattered. Little Rice Meyer came out of the general for RNG right now, but, you know, that's the way League of Legends goes. There's a winner and a loser. Unfortunately, Mata's team was better today.
They certainly were, and they really looked like that because throughout the entire third game especially, it looked like things were just dead even between the two teams, but every single time, every single team fight, RNG just looked like they were outmaneuvering Vici.
Yeah, that's all it was. I mean, we already said it. If you can set up picks, Ashe is a better utility AD carry because she's able to get in there, and that's what they failed to capitalize on. I mean, when they were strong, they should have been able to pick people off with the Azir Ashe combo, but they never executed on it. Something that teams like SKT do incredibly well. On the flip side, Uzi with the On the Hunts was able to use that to position around teamfights beautifully, not only for himself, but for Xiaohu, who time and time again hit multi-man ultimates and were able to come up huge. I think that that's just what it came down to. I mean, a little bit better execution on what your composition did. Are we a pick comp, or are we able to fight these 5v5s? And Sivir late game, AoE crits, they just do so much.
Essentially, you know, Danny up against MLSG was a big matchup that impressed me as well because game 1, Danny dominant. Game 2, MLSG dominant. Game 3, it was just these two junglers going neck and neck. Danny looked like he was coming out on top. Then MLSG starts a big team fight, and it still was the same thing at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Danny was unkillable. Throughout the entire game, he was the last person to dive. He was always in the front line trying to do his job, getting multiple knockups. But MLXG, young kid, not able to really get the consistency he needs, and it's something that we've criticized. I mean, game 1 on the Hecarim was pretty much non-existent. Didn't look like he was on Summoner's Rift. Game 2, Nidalee, completely different story. Takes over the map, completely crushes. Game 3, Gragas, really clutch ultimates, and that's what he needs to be able to do. Needs to be able to go back to teamfight utility, like great junglers like Bengi, like Clearlove can do, and clean up in the later stages of the game, and he got it done today.
And we also got to see why Izzy-Hun is so well renowned on the Azir as well. He did fantastic in the mid lane to come back after the first blood. But you know, for now, let's take a look at today's results. First up, it was Ime, were able to pick up a 2-0 victory over LGD.
Yeah, they certainly were. LGD probably unlucky to not send that to a game 3, but in the end, they just weren't good enough to hold an 11,000 gold lead.
11,000 gold is not enough for them, but in game number 2, it was Team W picking up the win over OMG after dropping that second game.
Yeah, and Icon came up huge, and you know, Zhuezhui had another good performance. I like the way that OMG is playing. They just need to build on it.
And finally, it was RNG dropping the first game, but able to pull it back for the 2-1 victory over Vici.
And, you know, we were harsh on Vici. We said not the 4th best top 3 team. They need to concentrate on 4. That's where they sit right now, but that game certainly showed that they're probably better than 4th still.
They certainly did, and you can take a look at the Group B standings. RNG only dropping 2 games so far, one to EDG, one to Team WE. Ime and Team WE tied up 9-4. Vici now 6-6 with LGD 4-8 and OMG 3-10.
Yeah, and once again, LGD, they're not 1 game out of playoffs. They're probably not going to make it this year. Unfortunate.
Unfortunately for LGD, but tomorrow we're going to have even more League of Legends actions. Game Talents take on EDG, Saint take on Newbie, as well as Invictus Gaming taking on Snake.
And you know, these are all really important games because Newbie needs to keep building. I mean, if they have any hope on making a really late surge and their team is good enough to make a surge, they need to continue to build. I mean, right now, they're sitting pretty much solid 4th, but IG, you know, you never know with that team. And 4th isn't good enough. I mean, they need to finish 3rd. They need to get across from Vici on the other side of the group. At the same time, you know, EDG going up against Game Talents. Game Talents are a wild card. No one knows what the heck this team is going to do match to match fish. So I really think this is another challenge for the champs to try and prove once again that they're the top dogs in the LPL.
Yep, Game Talents really put up some big performances, especially during cross-conference, but we still can't tell where Game Talents exactly lie because the hybrid of Masters 3 coming out from that coming out from the swing split of the LPL, and kind of just can't quite see where they sit just yet.
Yeah, and, you know, they play really weird League of Legends. They've had some roster swaps in there as well. So, you know, this is one of those games that EDG, they can't sleep on them. They have to go in with a really solid game plan. I don't want to see a Skarner out of them. And just, you know, execute well and pick up a 2-0 because EDG has been very good at picking up 2-0 victories when they have to. And earlier this week against Newbie, they dug deep for one. I mean, it went to 70 minutes or something like that. Newbie had 4 Barons, I think. But EDG they were good enough to get it done. And that's what they need to do against Game Talents.
Well, let's take a look quickly at the MVP for the 3rd and final game of tonight. It's going to go over to Malasianko, the spicy hot pot himself. MLXG picks it up with his jungle Gragas.
Yeah, that was a really impressive contribution out of MLXG. The 85% kill participation really does him justice there. 11 of those MVPs now, and this was where it all turned on a dime. I mean, 2 people dead, he goes in and he gets a Baron for his team.
That's really where things started to turn around for RNG as well, because it looked like Vici, although it was a neck-and-neck game, had control of the team fights until that point where RNG just took over.
And once again, the Prince of Thieves dives in there, tries to steal one away. He just proves that he's too good one more time, MLXG. Able to deny Dandy, able to pick up the team fight victory after the Elder Draken. This was really one of those times in the game that, you know, MLXG, he had a huge task ahead of him and was able to come up trumps.
And, you know, Vici looks strong as well, but RNG, it's a good game for them here in the LPL to show how dominant they can be, especially with the likes of game number 2 and how well they can fight in games like game number 3. Especially since this team is very vocal about how they want to be the best team in China. They want to go to Worlds, and they're kind of on track to do just that. A little bit of a rocky start to the second half of the group stages here against Team WE as well.
Yeah, they are on track to go to Worlds, definitely. Like, no one's going to debate that. Are they the best team or the second best team in China? Honestly, I don't know. I think that at their best, they're better than EDG. I like bold statement, but when you have a look at how much class is in that lineup, it's just very hard to debate otherwise. But, you know, it depends on the health of Pawn, whether they play Scout on the other side. If Mouse can continue to play these carries, it's very interesting between the 2 teams. So right now, RNG have to continue to build. But on Vici's side, I really am impressed that they played Endless all 3 games tonight. I think that Endless, I was a huge critique of him. Last split especially, you'll remember that I did not like their bottom lane at all. But the fact that they stuck with him tonight and that he had relatively good performances against the Uzi Mata bottom lane, it just sings praise to the young AD carry. And I want to see them stick with it now because I don't think the Shuan P experiment has worked out.
Yeah, they've been throwing him in every other game in the LPL, but unfortunately not playing tonight. I think that's one of the first few times we don't see him playing in the second match for Vici. And Lesso did have a couple of great performances. Even in that final team fight against RNG, it looked like he was going to be able to stay alive despite the initiation from LMXG. But that one ricochet crit from Uzi was all it took to take him down.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Endless still has mistakes. I mean, he flashed in a straight line and then burnt an ultimate for no reason. But in key team fights, he stood, he delivered, and he did his job. Wasn't good enough tonight. But when you're going up against Uzi, that's not a criticism on you. That's just where you build from.
Certainly was, and RNG were able to pick up the third and final game of tonight. And that's all the League of Legends actions that we have here on the LPL tonight on behalf of myself, Jake, as well as Atlas and Raz and our entire production crew. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.